All right, maybe we can start. Um,
Okay.
and so welcome everybody, and it's my great pleasure to introduce our seminar speaker this week, Professor Indrikis Krams. He's a really versatile researcher and a leading figure in science in basically Baltics and Scandinavia. He's based in Latvia. He did his studies in Latvia, but he also did a lot of travels and research visits around the Baltic and the Scandinavian area. He did an early scholarship in Stockholm, in Sweden, but he did his master's and PhD in Latvia, and then soon became head of department at the Latvian University, the University of Daugavpils. And he also did a lot of postdocs and several research visits. He was a visiting researcher and later visiting professor in several universities in Finland, but also visiting research fellow in the United States, in Tennessee and Harvard University. He's currently also a visiting professor in Estonia, the University of Tartu, and also a visiting researcher at the Latvian Biomedical Research Center. He's also a chief editor in the Springer journal Ecologia and an associate editor at the Frontiers of Behavioral Neuroscience, and also an editorial member board in several journals, including Scientific Reports and other journals. He's also a very great nature photographer. So if you want, feel free to check out his homepage. He has beautiful pictures and birds and different animals there. So it's definitely worth checking out. And he also performs research on a really wide spectrum of topics and organisms, and molecular and physiological ecology, life history, ecology, and also diverse topics such as attractiveness in humans. And he has published well over 100 papers in leading journals, including Nature Communications, PNAS, Tree, Proceedings B, American Naturalist, and you name it. So among those diverse topics, he's going to talk about mobbing behavior in birds this time. If you saw the flyer for this presentation, he's standing next to a cassowary, and I don't know if he's mobbing it or not, but he's going to tell more details about this research. So please welcome Professor Krams, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I always dreamed about coming to Hungary because I have seen Hungary over the border. I was standing in, it was a Soviet time, but I could see the beautiful wineries of Hungary. So, but we finally decided that I'm not coming in person to Hungary right now because I need to see it when it's sunny and when it's warm. So next spring, we are thinking that we could come and see and enjoy your beautiful country, so that so to spend there several days. And I don't know where Adam took all of those details and information about me. It sounds like he's very well prepared. I mean that nowadays this information about everything and about everybody costs money. But anyway, this kind of joke. But yeah, it was a very long introduction. I think this is not worth mentioning all of those details about me, except that studying mobbing behavior is like a pet subject for me. We started this many years ago, and we still continue with this. And it looks like we are supposed to deal with mobbing behavior for many years ahead, so that we are not going to stop. I'll try to tell a little bit about mobbing in animals and mobbing in humans, just to show you how universal, how important is this kind of behavior, and how ubiquitous is that? So for any kind of behavior, physiological function, it should be more or less adaptive to evolve and to become stable in evolution. So that this is we define this behavior as anti-predator adaptation, in which prey individuals, those small ones, mob their predators by cooperatively attacking and harassing it. So that the function of it, of these behaviors, is aggressive, highly vocal, highly conspicuous behavior is to protect their offspring, get predator away, and it's very important to say, because this is like a key to mobbing behavior, that predators are not willing to return to places they have been mobbed. So why I'm highlighting Konrad Lorenz here. He is one of those guys who established the science we now know, ethology, and he said that that in his view, humans are subject to similar innate impulses, instincts of mobbing behavior, but capable of bringing them under more rational and more mental control. And now about mobbing in humans, just a couple of words. This is what we call not more often as bullying behavior in humans. And so what is really important here? This behavior can be performed in groups, can be performed in workplaces, in community. Now it's become more and more widespread in on online, and so that one of those important subcategories of mobbing on bullying in humans is social isolation. Quite many people try to isolate others away from the group, and usually this is quite painful. And as you know, during across centuries, scientists had been mobbed often, sometimes even killed. So, but this is very easy to mob a scientist. So you can find lots of stories, and one of them I highlighted here. It was taken this a book about bullying and mobbing in science, and decades ago it was very widespread and common in sex-related context, and I have been mobbed many times and constantly. Because I'm so concentrated on my science and less concentrated on my social neighborhood, and so and those people thought always think that they are successful in their mobbing. Why? You know that I'm waiting when other people would mob me, because you probably know why. You know that I'm my main research interests are related to mobbing and mobbing experiments. This is what I'm really waiting for. Okay, let's come back to mobbing in birds. Those mobbing events, quite many people have seen, even those who are not ornithologists, not biologists. People quite often ask me what those crows are doing, why they are so noisy, what's the problem? And when I show that in that bush or in that spruce there is a hawk sitting, then everybody so no details needed anymore. And and sometimes mobbing birds can attack the predators and even kill. So, but there is also another situations, the opposite situations, when the quietly sitting predator can at some moment turn around and quickly attack birds, prey birds, the potential prey, mobbing it and kill one of them. Yeah, but I especially highlighted here those crows because they are really shameless birds and can attack real like top predators like eagles. And there are some species, for example, red-winged blackbirds. They mob everything. They mob everybody. They are really brave, and they get anybody. So even researchers, even people moved away from their territories. Actually, my interest about mobbing behavior didn't appear from like out of the blue. I at some moment I found and read a paper written by Professor Eberhard Curio, a German biologist, who had done a lot to promote and to move further the whole field of mobbing behavior. And especially I was impressed by his adaptive significance of avian mobbing. And he publishes telenomic hypotheses and predictions. Telenomic means that he had something like 11 hypotheses proposed to explain mobbing behavior in birds. Telenomic in this case means that you can add more if you find more functions. So I was very impressed about these things because what I was dealing with at that time, it was behavior, mostly behavior. And behavioral choices, ecological niches, and so how those birds and competition, of course. And so behavior is you don't need much money. You can even you can own even a cheap binocular, so that you can do quite a lot just observing birds. And we started in this way. So please a little bit about how Eberhard Curio looked at mobbing and how he tried to explain. So the thing, the most important thing here is that there are many functions of mobbing. So mobbing behavior has many functions. It depends on the season. It depends on the breeding cycle. It depends on the species, and depends on the predators, and depends on many other things. And for example, on the density of predators, the biodiversity of predator species, and so on and so on. My wife, Tatiana, was a psychologist during that time. I got interested in mobbing behavior. And we, at home, we quite frequently discussed what has been observed by us. And so step by step, I got interested in mobbing, mobbing behavior more seriously. And she started to turn, so she moved from psychology more and more to ecology, and it was possible because of Professor Ivo Mand at the University of Tartu. He helped us a lot, so that we at some moment we established like a team, and we are still a team at this moment, and hope that we will be as successful as we have been all of those decades. Reciprocal altruism. I got interested about testing the idea of reciprocal altruism in birds based on curious hypotheses. You can hear me, of course, but you can see here the picture of relationship exchange. So they call it relationship reciprocity. I give you something and you give me something different. But both things we exchange are important for us. This is actually a mutualism, example of mutualism. Reciprocity is what I defined on the left side of this slide. So this is reciprocity. It's like a no, this is wrong. Reciprocity with a time lag, mutualism with a time lag. So it should take some time, and therefore we need really good memory to memorize who helped us, why he or she helped us, how much they helped us, how worse was that, and it's not. It's not that easy that to even realize that such organisms like birds can remember so much information to follow to construct their behavior based on reciprocal altruism models. So that, but I was really interested to check is it reciprocal altruism possible in birds or not. I was also quite inspired by a paper published by Gerald Wilkinson in Nature 1980 about vampire bats. So he showed that reciprocity is very important in groups of vampire bats. And we performed our very simple experimental study to test whether mobbing behavior of the chaffinch may be explained in terms of reciprocal altruism. And we expected, there are just two expectations or predictions. So we expected the chaffinches would not initiate the harassment of a predator, of a stuffed owl at the moment of formation of communities. So they come from the wintering grounds, and they can either join communities composed by other migratory passerines, or they can join also communities, well-established communities composed by sedentary birds. So whether those are willow tits, crested tits, coal tits, nuthatches, or those are black caps, whether those are redwings, song thrushes, or robins, European robins. And this paper was highly, so warmly appreciated by scientific community, and we managed to publish it in Proceedings B. So because both predictions were supported, and we concluded that cooperation among individuals belonging to different species in driving predators away might be based on reciprocal altruism or direct reciprocity. It's reciprocal altruism is because we also think like psychologists, but the biologists usually say direct or indirect reciprocity. And please look at those cool, how many cool people read our paper before, during its draft versions. So it was Staffan Lofstrand, Peter Marler, Heberhard Kurio, Raiva Mand, and Minko Mankanen. So what a nice bunch of great people. We also we were very interested to check whether experimentally test whether mobbing behavior, especially those mobbing calls, if they are. So we noticed that mobbing birds give those calls not so not for hours. They end those calls after 5 minutes, 10 minutes of mobbing, and we experimentally tested whether those long-lasting mobbing calls may attract attention of predators. We performed 2 experiments, and so we expected that if those calls are too long, that pine martens can come during night and attack those nest boxes. So the nests of these were artificial nests, so don't worry, we didn't attract pine martens to real nest boxes. We used quails nests, and quails not nests but eggs, so if sometime later you can open this YouTube video, you can see how pine marten attacks. So this is video recording from inside the nest box. Pretty impressive for us biologists. Look at those excellent pictures by Jorma Tennevuo. Jorma Tennevuo is a dentistry professor from Finland, and his bird pictures, and not only bird pictures, are just amazing. I would like to invite you to check his web page. just Google Jorma Tennevuo, and that's enough. So great tits are very special, and they differ from willow tits and crested tits, who have stable winter territories. That the great tits they travel across quite big, quite vast areas, and they become dominant only when they are at their own home ranges. Those home ranges, they are not like a real territories, but all adult males, they always remember where is his own territory, which is supposed to become a real territory during spring and summer. So we tested using approach of giving mobbing calls. We tested whether this is mate warning when we scared the great tit males and look whether they give alarm calls, whether they start mobbing us, and the setup of the experiment under different territorial and social contexts, so that we tested whether this is a message to the predator, or this is reciprocal altruism, or this is warning mates when they are accompanied with their mates. And for those who are interested, you can look later at this paper. But the results of our study suggested that the giving of alarm calls of wintering great tits of those males, old males, may be explained as mate protection and reciprocal altruism among familiar individuals. Now we know, based on results by the group of Ben Sheldon at Oxford, that familiarity in great tits matters very, very much. And those who, for example, those who breed together, if females or males have been neighbors during the previous breeding season, they also try to stay close to each other during next winter, because perhaps their relationships are based on at least something like reciprocity. We also looked at and tried to understand whether how to separate, how to distinguish and tell apart byproduct mutualism and reciprocal altruism, so that many people say that, oh, this is not reciprocity in your mobbing experiments. This is byproduct mutualism because and we showed that when the two nest boxes are really close to each other, like 25 meters away, then neighbors always will help they neighbors. So all neighbors will help to each other because they both nest boxes are under high levels of risk. But when those nest boxes, two neighboring nest boxes, are separated at least by 80, 100, or by 100 meters, then the situation is completely different in pied ligatures. So that we showed in this paper that these to fly across 100 meters and to put your life under the threat of predator attack, this happens only when those neighbors have helped before. So you should have really good neighbors, and those connections should be based on nice relationships. Otherwise, neighbors are not going to help you. And what's interesting in this paper, so this point number 3, that the birds, we found that the birds are aware of the specific spatial security context. And what's even more important, they choose a situation-specific strategic course of activity, which is based on length, which promotes your long-term security. And this capacity previously was thought to belong only and to be unique only to primates. And therefore, such birds like, I remember that parrots, like chickadees, like tits, they are supposed to, they even are called the further primates because they so-called linguistic capabilities and social and the social complexity is so complex that it resembles only primates. In this paper, we also showed that this tit-for-tat strategy and reciprocal altruism or reciprocity is more complex than previously considered, because this is not just like a pure or simple tit-for-tat strategy. We showed that there's some kind of also forgiving and not forgiving. This is mostly based on the excuse, so that birds understand at some moments why their neighbors were not able to come and assist in mobbing. Because, for example, they were just not present, they were far away. And we also published 2 papers based on very precise, very well-planned experiments. I'm not going to tell about them in detail here, because these are more or less well-known examples. And also this second one is pretty much highlighted in textbooks, but I would like to tell a couple of words about this the IBIS paper. It was almost accepted by nature. They even approached me asking and telling what's wrong with one of reviewers. But finally, they rejected us. And what happened next? Next happened the following. This paper was rejected by 15 or 20 journals. And then Andrew Gosler just invited us to submit it to his, he was editor-in-chief in the IBIS, and he immediately accepted that paper. But we were not able to publish it within 3 or 4 years. Yeah, so this is also a nice example of mobbing on bullying behavior. Like a midway summary. So results of these and other studies showed not only to us, but also to other people that bird mobbing is a complex behavior. It requires cognitive abilities, and it has lots of costs, and but it's still adaptive. And sometimes to explain mobbing, you can use reciprocity, direct reciprocity, and even across species. As a result, we got a lot of answers. We were really happy to understand that mobbing behavior, as predicted by Eberhard Curio, is not even that complex as he thought, but even more complex. However, as you see this sentence, new questions also arise. And one of those, I have never especially was involved in this extra pair copulations topic, but we collected some material and didn't pay attention to all of those blood samples. But at some moment, it appeared everybody knows what is extra pair copulations and what is extra pair offspring, and so that it's absolutely clear why males would love that, but it was not really clear why females should go for this. But anyway, so females actively seek for extra pair copulations, and there are many review papers published on that, and so that why we got to this merger of extra pair interactions, copulations, extra pair offspring, and mobbing behavior. 2009, I met Sigrun Eliassen at the Congress in Australia, and we sat down and discussed this topic. And so I promised her that we are going to. So we started to collect more material on that, because they in 5 years they published. She came out with a clear definition of her ideas. So they, together with Professor Yorkson, they suggested that from a male, so that look at this final paragraph. They propose this nicer neighborhoods hypothesis, suggesting that female extra pair mating promotes males to invest less in territoriality, in territorial aggressivity, aggression, and in fights between each other, and more in care, and more in collective defense of those territories. So she suggested that it may that more love affairs can result into less aggressive neighborhood and more cooperative neighborhood, at least at the moments when predators come and approach. So higher defense levels. The question about does this cheating behavior make social environments nicer in humans? I'm not sure about it. Not sure. I'm not. This is not the right approach. I don't. I'm not. I have not. I must look at the literature, but I haven't done it so far. So if you can look whether something like that is available for humans, it would be really good, because that would be easy to publish a great review paper. And the experiment we performed based on the ideas of Eliasson and Yorkson is that we repeated our experiment we started many years ago and published in Behavioral Ecology and Social Biology, which demonstrated reciprocal altruism in pied flycatchers. Those nest boxes were placed in triplets, 3 nest boxes together. The distance between those nest boxes was something like 30, 40, or 50 meters, so really close. Don't remember, or even I cannot see it from here, but very close. And the most important thing here is that we opened only the entrance of only one nest box, this A nest box. We kept it open from the very beginning, while those 2 A, B, and C nest boxes were opened only when the 4th egg appeared in the nest box A. So we experimental setup resulted so that we had 1 older and 2 younger nests in each of those experimental nest box triplets. And so that the experimental design we used, it made it possible for males in nest box A to have extra pair offspring in nest box B and C, which it was not possible the other way around. So and we and this is and very important that the distance between those nearest triangles, those triplets, was at least half a kilometer. So what we were interested whether nest box A males would assist their neighbors B or C based on the presence of extra pair nestlings in those B or C nest boxes. To test this, we demonstrated simultaneously 2 stuffed tawny owls placed on near the nest boxes B and C when nestlings in those nest boxes were 12 days old, and nest box and in nest box A, those nestlings were already were near to fledgling time. So we tried to always to be right in time. And so we also measured not only what was the choice for males A, but also we looked we also measured the closest distance approached by males A to and also the intensity of mobbing. So these are results, and those results are not perhaps easy to understand immediately, but the idea is that when males A have extra pair nestlings in nest box B, they almost every time chose to come to mob the owl at nest box B. If it was at the if he had love affairs previously with the female from nest box C, those A males usually came to and mobbed, assisted their neighbors at nest box C. So we showed that this anti-predator defense and help provided by neighbors depend on whether the males have extra pair offspring in the neighbors' nests. We found that predators are mobbed, attacked more frequently at those nests, more aggressively, and males A approached those predators closer. So the conclusion from that experiment was that that the idea supports that female extra pair mating may enhance safety, and we are not sure how to measure nice or less nice or more nice environments were available at those setups, but that would be really interesting to look at how many how intense is aggressive and territorial behavior between those neighboring males. So, and this is a paper itself. It was published last year, and recently, like a couple of days or weeks ago, Professor Elias and colleagues published a new paper. They are mathematicians, and so they developed the models, mathematical models, and they develop a new model based on our experimental results. So that from my point of view, this is very interesting paper, and suggesting that we are approaching to this so we are slowly solving this this phenomenon and understanding it much better based on social interactions. So when social interactions are involved, it's much easier to understand those products of love called offspring. So that and perhaps next models and experiments should be based also on personality of those animals involved, because cooperation, we are slowly writing a new paper. The cooperation, such things like reciprocal altruism, is also heavily dependent on personalities. For some reason, shy individuals, they usually use their behavior ends with what we know like cry wolf behavior. They are too emotional, and they are not able to provide really precise information under such situations as predation events. And so I invite you to look at this super interesting paper, and it shows that this from self-interest to cooperation, that this extra pair as a driver of related territorial aggression in social birds can make the neighborhood nicer and safer. So, but you should pay for it by losing losing some part of your fitness. So, as you can see, we have done quite a lot in this field, and I should ask myself that whether is something more possible, whether in this field, and whether this is beneficial, like in economy terms, whether this is beneficial, whether this is rewarding to continue this, studies in the field of mobbing behavior. So, how my answer is yes, because we are currently conducting new research, and I believe that this research will be even more interesting and more exciting than that we have already done. So stay tuned, and I promise that in 3-4 years we can start publishing something from really related to those results. And thank you very much. Not sure whether this is okay. We didn't agreed about any kind of duration of this presentation, but hope that you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Indrikis, for this very interesting and thought-provoking talk. And so I'm asking the audience whether they have questions. They can write this in the chat. We also have viewers on the YouTube channel, so maybe they will have some questions over there as well. In the meantime, while the others are thinking or maybe writing their questions, I will have a question. So early in your talk, you drew a parallel between mobbing and bullying behavior in humans. And I'm wondering how much this is substantiated, or how good is this parallel, because in mobbing, what happens is that, as you showed clearly, individuals are attacking a dangerous predator, so that's a very risky behavior. Whereas bullying, very often what happens is that bulliers attack already vulnerable or weak members of the society or group. So that doesn't seem to involve a lot of risk to bully someone who is already vulnerable or weaker than you are. So what do you think about this?
I think that this is your question is mostly about quantitative access. So that perhaps we are so tolerant to bullying, by the way, that we are tolerant to bullying when we or other people are when this is performed by a boss. We say like ugly jokes, and while actually this is this may happen when and this may look from the side like those people actually own us, so they are owners of us, and they so I guess that the fact that some people think that they can they if they are joking, then that's fine. But if they have some power and they joke and perform ugly jokes, if it would be possible to test that they really think that we belong to them, then I think it would change our perception about that. Mobbing behavior in birds and other animals also can be performed like just like notifying the predator that I see you, I know that you are there, and that's enough, because it says that dear predator, we see you, and nothing unexpected. So your unexpected attack is not possible anymore. Go away. And therefore, for example, I teach my students, when you see like this, when you see a stranger near to your property, is it a flat or a holiday house or your tent or your bicycle? If you and your car, if you ask, who are you? What you are doing there? That actually is a kind of mobbing, because I say, I see you, I watch you, and I don't like you. Kind of, this is not how happy about I am about you. No, this is kind of, who are you? What you're doing here? I have never seen you before. And this is also is a kind of bullying, kind of mobbing. So, and it works. If you say to a stranger, to the stranger, that who are you and what you are doing here? Do you need some help? By the way, and especially if you say it like a man with a dark shirt or with a hat, so you identify that person, or a gentleman with a beard. Yeah, so it says that that you have already identified personal features, and you will never forget this person. So it's much better for those who just investigate this neighborhood, or already want to steal something. It signals that unfortunately those people see me and they watch me, so it's time to go away. This act of predation, this is unsuccessful. Therefore, this about as you ask me about whether these can be comparable, this is about the balance, and these extremes are pretty far away. Still, this is bullying or mobbing, and how parallel and how comparable is it with human behavior? It's like a matter of taste.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, sure.
Associated
sure.
with this topic? Thank you very much for this very interesting talk. And I'm just wondering whether this within species mobbing is known from any animal species, or it's just a human speciality, that the member of the same species mob against member of the same species.
Yeah. Okay. It's a very good question, because even if we see something like that, we usually think, this is just like a kind an act of aggression. Maybe they have something in between, and they are unhappy about each other. So what's the reason? No, there's no reason. Those are just birds. I think this is one of those directions young researchers should look at, so we know something about that, because but it should be quantified much more, and so that we can see. So on the observational level, this is clear. For example, great tits visiting our feeders in winter, they sometimes those who are those who are bosses, those who are dominants, they just sit on the feeder and don't let us, not us, but don't let others to come and take seats. They just sit and wait and show, like, I'm here, and you cannot come and take seats. The question is why they do that? Like a prophylactic dominant demonstrating the prophylactic demonstrating of the dominance. Why is that needed? Is it who are those they are not letting to visit? Females, males? At which contexts are those? So if we add one more feeder, so if the dominant is showing up himself at one feeder, whether it will spend the same amount of time of the same behavior when two feeders are available, and everybody can go away from him, so that or what he is supposed to do if there are two feeders. Is this dominant going to invest twice as much of time to demonstrate his dominance? So your question is very smart. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's an interesting topic. Yes, really. Thank you.
There's a bright future for those things, I guess. Adam, something is available from the internet?
I don't know. Zofia says no questions on YouTube. Okay.
Oh.
So I would have another question. And so you mentioned this extra pair paternity and the benefits that females can gain from this, and why males can participate in mobbing in adjacent territories or in the neighborhood. What about female mobbing? Do females participate in mobbing, and if so, why? Because it's much less likely that they have extra pair offspring in other nest boxes.
Sometimes they participate, sometimes not. Don't know why. Perhaps they also this previous question about bullying within the same species in birds. Perhaps this is even though you have a territory, perhaps someone can come into your territory, and so and to mob you, so that these relationships between neighbors, this is what we know practically nothing about. Therefore, it's thank you about this question, because we can highlight the importance of that. Sometimes they don't come because from the female's perspective, it's and from male perspective, it's they especially those birds who breed in cavities, whole nesting birds. In some cases, females even don't participate in mobbing events, even when the predator is placed close to her nest. She doesn't pay attention, and only a male is involved in that. Perhaps in some cases they feel that the cavities can protect their offspring so well that nothing is needed, and I mean that aggressive behavior from their side is not needed. Sometimes they are really aggressive. So I guess we should look also, we should involve those personality features of those birds we study. Otherwise, we risk to lose quite substantial amount of information. And at this moment, I can only regret that we started. We have done so much experiments without and the personality information has not been collected from the very beginning. So because we have done a series of experiments on the great tit during breeding season, which showed that if you place something unfamiliar, like a tennis ball, on the top of the nest box, so that if the pair of those gray tits are shy, both are shy, they would start mobbing that tennis ball, while bold individuals would remove that tennis ball away. They are so aggressive, without even initiating mobbing. And those neighbors can't come and see that there's nothing. And when next time you place the real predator near the nest box of those shy individuals, no one will come to help them. So personality and social abilities, social gifts should be taken into account very, very much. I mean, I would emphasize that this is crucial part of those experiments. We only know, not only know, we started to realize a little bit too late.
Okay, thank you very much. That also adds a very interesting perspective and an additional layer to this already complex behavioral system. So
Sure.
I don't know if we don't have more questions. It seems like we don't have any more questions. Then we would conclude this session. And thanks again for Professor Krams for this interesting and entertaining talk. And yeah, with that, we conclude the session. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.